You ready? All right, if we're ready, we'll get started. I want to welcome everybody to the June 6th meeting. It's 6:01. Just like to call the meeting to order. If I can get approval of the agenda, please.
Motion to approve, Chairman.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Graham, would you do the honors tonight, opening our meeting?
Yes, sir.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for all the good things you've given us and the blessings in our lives. We ask for your guidance, your strength, and continue to show us the way and fill us with courage and wisdom. Father, help us remember your love, your grace, and to be faithful in our service to you. All this we ask in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Graham. We move on. We got a special recognition. This is parts of our board meeting I really enjoy. Got a Kelly Woodson with the who was the Danes Ferry Science Olympiad winner. I understand it. Commissioner Kitchener, were you going to have him do a speech, or he's just come up here and? I thought this was my candy. I was just going to let you know that this how lucky you were. But we just like the Jones County Board of Commissioners would like to recognize you on this great accomplishment. If our board members can come up, we'll have a group picture. Because you've been a school teacher, ain't you? You want to share this candy with us? If he gives a speech. There's a pen in here too, then, Shannon.
Yes.
There's actually a county pen in there. Look, I'm serious. I just about ate it. All right, let's all gather around. Sir, congratulations. What'd you have to do to get here? What'd you have to do?
Learn stuff, just learn about stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. I'll take that. Congratulations.
Congratulations, man.
Smarter than I am. What's that?
He's smarter than a fifth grader.
Wow. They never had recognition like that, or I just didn't. I wasn't there when it happened.
It just went to other kids.
Oh, what the other kids got? What else? I probably. All right, we've got a board appointment tonight. Historical Preservation Commission board appointment. We've got a young lady that has asked to be considered, Miss Mary Murray. She wanted to know if we consider for that appointment.
Motion in order. Motion to approve Mary Murray for the Historic Preservation Commission Board.
Second.
Second, any discussion? None. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right. All right. Moving on, consent agenda and approval of minutes. We had a third Tuesday, May 16th, and executive session on May 16th. Y'all had an opportunity to review the minutes. If everything looks fine, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion is second. Second, Commissioner. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Let's have it. Okay. Is Miss Henson here tonight? Miss Henson?
So I can tell you she's called me a number of times and had some issues with some of the stuff that was on the road. I invited her to the meeting because I wanted her to share. It started from some water issues years ago where they cut into the road, and it wasn't us, but it was Macon Water Authority, I believe.
Right.
And then, of course, the bus turned around and then some other challenges. So Public Works has done some patching, but there's some more work that needs to be done on that road. So she wanted to come and make us all aware of it.
All right. We'll sure look into it.
Okay.
All right. Well, good. All right. If she shows up a little later, we'll come back to her. Mr. Gregg, you here tonight? You can get us started on the CIE adoption resolution.
Great.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Good to see everybody again this evening. So the first thing on the agenda is the annual update for the capital improvements elements. The last time we were here, we did a public hearing where we talked about what was in the CIE, and y'all approved a transmittal of that to the Georgia Department of Community Affairs for review and approval. They have since reviewed and approved it, which means it comes back to you to adopt. That's pretty much the highlights of it. It's a very simple one because you had $0 in and $0 out. So we are just continuing to report on that on an annual basis. So
Any action needed on that?
approval of a resolution to adopt.
All right.
Motion to approve a resolution to adopt the capital improvements element of the annual update for an annual update.
Second. Any more discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Ayes have it. All right, I'm already signing it, so I'm gonna pass it down to Jason. That way. He won't have to make 2 trips out of it. You've got recreation trail grants.
Yes, and that's the next thing. While I'm up
You're
here.
coming with all kind of gifts today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Recreational Trails Grant Program is one that comes up for applications every couple years or so. And this November, those applications will be due again. But the application window opens around late summer, and this is really a good time to start thinking about those because it helps us be prepared and put in good applications for it. But the Rec Trails program is exactly what it sounds like it's for recreational trails. And you can get up to a $200,000 grant for that. The matching requirement is 20% of total project cost. So, if you ask for 200,000, you have to put in at least 50,000 more. And that is the match. It generally does have to be cash. Volunteer hours can count, but they will not count hours of labor from county employees. That's the one caveat with this one. That's a little bit different than the outdoor stewardship grant that y'all have, or the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant, in which case both of those are eligible. But this was in particular, there was a project that y'all submitted last time, I believe, or began working on last time in the Tanyard area of Clinton. And that property is owned by the Old Clinton Historical Society currently. But under the terms of the Recreational Trails Grant Program, they can enter into an agreement with the county, be it an easement or a long-term lease, by which the county gets control of that land where the trail goes, and you can develop a trail in the area. The idea being that it becomes open to the general public for use. This one could go around the entire Tanyard site, and then potentially, if you're looking at long-term expansion, it could tie into the Jake's Woods parcel, because that's sort of in that same area. But that's one of those ideas that was out there. And so wanted to see if that was a project y'all wanted to pursue again this year. And if so, the Regional Commission would offer our services to assist in writing the grant. And I know Commissioner Kitchens, I think, also had some thoughts about it and wanted to talk about it as well here too. So,
Thank you, Greg. Tim. Yeah, this is the one we talked about a couple of years ago that was kind of in conflict with the Jake Woods grant, the golf grant at the time. And so when we got that and we got Jake's Woods in the plans and in the works, we had talked about the Tanyard potential and the trail and the potential to connect to that and have it as a destination spot. And I think we had done most of our homework last time on it and kind of vetted out everything with the easement or the lease agreement verbiage that would satisfy the grant at the time. And so I would hope that, I think the only reason we didn't then is we had to choose one of them, and we had the opportunity to get the property and offer Jake Woods, and that was good that we done that. So I'm hoping the board will go forward with another application this round and try to get to that connection piece there. I think that's gonna make a huge difference.
Any other questions I think we've got action needed.
Motion to approve going out
requesting the regional commission to assist with writing the recreational trails grants when the application window opens.
Second.
Second. Any discussion?
Just want to say, I know we did do that a while back, and I can't remember scoring and all that other good stuff, and I hope because now the pieces are together, it's a better opportunity. Years ago, Regional Rails to Trails program too had some connectivity and some resources that they were talking about making available. If you can look into that as well, because I think the more we can put into those areas would be great.
Absolutely, and I think there are some potentials to look at that project with some other streams of funding too.
Yeah.
So-
And I think starting early like this gives us an opportunity to find other potential partners and opportunities to help with whether it's the matching or whether it's a maintenance agreement or, you know, any kind of partnerships like that that will benefit the process itself.
Any more discussion? None, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Let's have it.
Great, thank you very much.
Greg, you got, I think you got your paperwork right there. You can,
Appreciate it.
you're welcome to stay now.
He's like, I do enough.
2 more steps, I've been out.
Just made the offer, I know, didn't want to be rude. Marketing agreement, Ms. Marr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I realize that our agreement that we had in the past was completed, and my request at the end of last year was to be able to keep the 2 packages that I had sold, to maintain them and see them through. Once I start something, I want to finish it. The contracts that we were selling on a month-to-month basis, and I understood that needed to go to somebody else to handle. In 2018, I entered into an agreement with the county to sell advertising. And it was in January of 2018. About 2 months later, I sold a package to Morris Bank for, the total was $49,000. The package was to be $7,000 paid for 7 years, and then the next 3 years would be at no charge to them. And then at the end of the 10-year period, they would have first option for renewal, or it would be opened up to the public. This, about a month and a half ago, I received a check from Morris Bank, mailed to my P.O. Box for Genesco Marketing for this year's payment of $7,000. I understand that y'all have terminated the agreement, but this package was sold when I was under agreement with the county. And so I brought the check and gave it to Levita and was told that I wouldn't be paid on it, and that's when I asked to appear before the board. I feel like it was a contract that I sold while I was under an agreement with y'all, and I really feel like it should be honored.
So you all can certainly decide to do whatever you want, but I was asked to review the contract. So in reviewing the terms, and that's what judges will say, is what's between the 4 corners of the paper, right? So reviewing the contract itself specifically states that the contract with Ms. Marr is 20% of amounts collected on a monthly basis. It does not state that it is 20% of the total contract. And so the county did not collect these funds until yearly when payment was made, and then when payment has been made, therefore collected in the past, while we still had this contract with Ms. Marr, her sort of portion was paid out. This year, it was not collected, which is our agreements. That's what the specific language of the contract states, until after Ms. Marr had requested that her contract with the county be terminated.
I didn't request a termination to the contract.
or after the contract itself was terminated. So, the contract does not obligate the county to pay 20% of the total, of the total sales contract. The contract with Ms. Smar does not obligate the county to pay 20% of the total sales contract. Just specifically 20% of any amount which is collected by the county, which is why payments have been made previously when we collect payment, not upon the selling of the contract. So when Ms. Smar billed Morris Bank November 2nd of 2022, for May of 2023, it was not due at that time, and the money was not collected until such time as it was due May of 2023. Morris Bank contract was a multi-year contract for $7,000 to be paid over 7 years and an option for another 10-year renewal. If we interpret it in the way that Ms. Smar is asking the county to interpret it, that would mean that when we collect in 2024, 20% would be paid. It would also mean that for 10 years after that, if Morris Bank elected to renew their contract, 20% gets paid. So that's another 11, 12 years past the termination of this original agreement. Again, just looking at the contract language, it is very specific that that our agreement with Ms. Smar per the contract states that it is 20% of any amounts collected to be paid upon the collected on a monthly basis. And so per the contract itself, it is not, 20% of the total contract amount that she brings to the table. And I don't think anybody anticipated her contract with the county being terminated probably before the expiration of those sales contracts. But that occurred, and the contract with Ms. Smar does not state 20% of the total sales contract. It states 20% upon collection. I've reviewed everything.
Even that correspondent? Okay.
But we terminated the contract.
Oh, okay, I mean, I'm just looking for your, I just asked. What's the board want to do?
I can give you my opinion, and I can even make a motion, but we'll have some discussion first.
Yes, discussion first.
Okay. Right's right and wrong's wrong. In 2018, when we entered into the agreement with Ms. Smar, we all knew, well, I knew and thought that it was 20% of whatever she brought in. I didn't pay attention, I guess, whether it was monthly, annually, total contract, or whatever. I just assumed that there was no payment to her for services. It was 20% of whatever she brought in. If that was $100 or $100,000, it was 20% of it. Now, and I also understood that it was, when we talked about it, once the contract was ended, anything that was under that contract originally is still game. Anything after that, if we entered into a contract with someone for funding after her contract was ended, then obviously we weren't obligated for the 20% of that. But all that to be said, I think, if it was brought in by her while she was under contract, we owe it to her. Now, the option to renew, I look at that as the 10-year contract that she signed them on to ended in 10 years, because does it give another
Well, Ms. Smar signed them into a 7-year contract that would
A
expire.
7-year contract
payment
with 3 years
Right. At no cost?
at no cost. And I'm not asking y'all to continue to pay me anything. This is what I feel. Since they did send the check to me, I brought the check in this time. If y'all will agree to pay me the 20% on the check, then I'm done. But I think with it being, I won't ask, next year would be the last year under that contract anyway. So I would be willing to walk away, but I really feel, that this one should be,
I'll start. You got any comment, Commissioner Wood?
I can see the points of it. Since it needs to be a sunset clause in this where if it renews, it doesn't carry on. Sam has good points. I'm good with paying her to 20% this year.
Any discussion you want, I mean, I know it's
She
just
worked hard
discussion
for it.
only right there, but we got,
So,
You'll
Um,
need to probably make a motion to
yeah, let's go and do it
discuss.
right. Commissioner Kitchen, you want to do that in motion form, so we can do the,
I'm not sure what the motion needs to be. Motion to, just to discuss, or I'll make a motion to,
motion to pay.
yeah, motion to honor the contract as intended.
I think Ms. Smar is saying with the end to that being, this being the last payment.
all right, we have a motion, we have a second?
I'll second.
Second, all right.
Okay, so, just so I'm clear, contract started January 2018
Yes.
and ended December 31st, 2018.
Yeah, but it was understood that it just renewed each year.
Understood by you. I think if Sam got it. I don't remember all the details, and I was trying to remember why did it terminate? And it sounded like earlier you mentioned like you wanted to continue this portion of the contract, but not other portions of the contract.
Yeah, I wanted to fulfill the obligation that I had made to Morris State Bank. And the only other ongoing contract I had was with Piedmont Park for the dog park, but didn't feel like that was a multi-year contract. I signed that contract with them, sold that. It's going to be ongoing from now on. I don't feel like I need to be involved in that anymore. But with this particular one being the way it was, and it being a 7-year contract, there's one more year after this one left on the contract. I'm willing to forego the last year and end it now. But I really feel like I should be paid on this year.
So just to be clear, the dog park is multi-year. You don't want to be paid on that.
Well, it's
But the
not
one that-
multi-year. We never signed up for a certain number of years on that one.
Okay.
We just signed up for $2,000 a year.
And do they still pay that?
Yes. Well, they did when I was with them.
I would have to check the finance on that one, that would be a finance.
So
question.
they do pay that, but you don't earn commissions on that. And you chose not to earn commissions on that because of what again?
Because it wasn't a multi-year
It
contract.
wasn't a multi, but it just renews annually anyway. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Because I was going to say, you get to pick and choose. That's pretty cool. You know, and the challenge is I'm a real estate broker, right? So the law is the ensuing cause of sale, right? And the ensuing cause of sale is you making the contract with Morris Bank. So to Sam's point, that is absolutely right. When I read the contract term, it's only for 1 year. So that's the challenge, right? I understand it, ensuing cause of sale, I'm with you all day, real estate. The problem is, it's a 1-year contract, and now we're into 2023, and you want to get payment for next year's,
No,
right?
no, I want to get payment for the check that just came in that
You just
I
got it,
brought
so-
into the
That's May.
accounting department.
Yeah.
Okay.
It does say renewed for 1-year terms thereafter upon agreement of both parties. And we may not have it on here, but she stayed on for more. But my thought is, she secured that 10-year agreement in the year that there was a signed contract.
I agree with you.
And in my opinion, we need to pay her for the 10-year contract that she brought into the payment. She brought those payments in. Now, whether they were collected, if it had been a $50,000 day one payment,
Yep.
we would have paid her 20% of $50,000, but it was $50,000 over 7 years. We knew then that it was going to be 7 years collecting it. So that's just my opinion.
Right, well, and we've got it based on, well, it's called for the vote. Y'all ready? No more discussion? All in favor, aye?
So
I think
Wait a
there's
minute.
got to be clarity on the,
What's the we need to clarify this time?
is the motion to pay the 20% and end all further payments, as Ms. Moore's requesting, with both Morris and Piedmont, just to have the record clear? There will be no additional payments after this 20% is paid.
is that your request?
That's fine.
I'm good with that.
Just so
You'll
it-
make a
Just
friendly
so
amendment.
everybody's clear.
Yeah, I amend the motion to pay Ms. Marr for services rendered through the end of this year.
For,
All right, I'll second the amendment.
For the, sorry,
For,
Morris Bank.
for the,
For
the
Morris
current
Bank.
20% owed on payment received from Morris Bank and no
Current-
future projects or
Current
payments.
20% on the note received from Morris Bank and no future payments.
You got
I won't
that?
be back.
Well, you need something?
I'll just listen to it again.
Okay.
Just listen to it.
All right. Then we got a second.
Second
to
the amendment.
All right. All in favor, aye?
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Just to be clear, we're not using this contract with anyone currently selling, because this needs to be fixed.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have a contract. We don't have anybody on our behalf.
Okay.
All right, y'all ready to move on?
Money, yeah.
Commissioner Martin, you're up.
All right.
Jim, extended hours.
Each summer, we normally come before the summer starts to ask for the extended hours. My apologies for not doing it in advance. I'm surprised Vaughn didn't call me already, because he normally would have called me and reminded me, hey, remember those hours? But we know it's summertime, so I wanted to ask the board to extend the hours like we've done previously. A motion to extend the hours that
we
we
go.
Jim?
Do we have a
Second, under the same terms as before, he's gonna be there. to do that.
Discussion with our department head.
You know, I mean, this is up to y'all to decide, but I didn't know if y'all could potentially make a motion that we do it every summer, if it's something that we do every summer, to where, you know, if he forgets a couple weeks later, or,
You
you
would
know,
forget
can it be
what-
ongoing that during the summer we extend our hours?
I'm getting older, so it's possible that I might forget. So yes, I agree.
Or that the department head bring it to us and say, hey, let's do this. It's a good thing to do.
You want a friendly amendment?
Friendly amendment, motion to extend Wells' hours during the summer into perpetuity.
As needed. I'll second that friendly amendment.
All right, any more discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Mr. Graham, Commissioner Kitchen and I got an opportunity to sit through some classes. Was it Friday? I don't know if we look any smarter than that, but we learned a lot about
I'm so,
911 and
I am so glad.
it's a lot I thought
It's-
I knew that I didn't.
It's a lot to take in. It takes years to take it in.
We got, how many hours that day?
Seemed like about 40 in one day.
It's a lot. Who was speaking?
The
Was he
one-
from ISO?
Somebody there knew Don, if I remember right.
He was, yeah.
You just asked them the church question. Everybody said the
Yeah.
service was good. What did the pastor talk about?
I can tell you.
Yeah, you got it, Toomey? There was a Toomey, wasn't it?
That's just,
Bill Toomey.
Bill Toomey.
he's the Southeast representative for ISO.
Yeah.
He's in charge of the whole Southeast. He doesn't inspect, but he's over the agents that
He
do.
did say, the number one question is who runs ISO? And he said, depends on who you ask.
Insurance companies
Insurance company.
Yeah.
That's the biggest.
and the politicians. Sorry.
That's probably, insurance, some of the
Yeah.
ones I have, so we heard that more than once.
Thanks for having me up, and I appreciate Commissioner Martin having me in to speak of this. I love talking ISO. I can talk it all day long, and there's so much that we can. There's so much driving force with it, and sometimes you feel like you're just spinning your wheels. I had a nice little thing that we're going to put up on the computer, and it snafu'd on us. So what I've got is Jay got us at least 5 copies. Of how we were graded, where we were, how we were graded, why we were graded, and what we ended up with, and why we ended up with. I know she wants a copy. I wish everybody in the crowd could see it, and how intense it is. If you look at this sheet right here that's got a earned credit and credit available, I think it's the back sheet. That'll be a good guide that we can go by, because we can go right down how many points were available from ISO and how many points we received. Okay. I know that this is going to be repetitious for the chairman and Sam. There's 3 parts of ISO. And that's, you've got 10% of it is dispatch, 50% of it is fire department, and 40% of it is water, and that's how they grade us. So it's not all the fire department. You've got so many other things involved, dispatch and water department, and they're both important, or they're all important. So number one, we looked down and we scored a 51.96, and there was ISO offered 105.5 points that we could get to do a rating, or make a rating. That would be an excellent rating if we had over 100. But this is what it is under the emergency communications. Now, this is fire department only. Now, if you go to the front page of number 1, it says emergency dispatch protocol. It contains questions and decision support process, facilitate correct calls, categorized and prioritized. You see a big goose egg in there?
Mm-hmm.
And you see a 20 there. I am not throwing anybody under the bus. This, if you'll read the next little there, that's why. And I'd rather not say it.
So I have to ask the question.
Yes, sir.
So is that because our sheriff's department does not field 911 for fire?
They do dispatches.
Okay.
But what they do is grade their performance in there and how they dispatch calls. EMD is what they're looking for. Emergency.
So how do we help the sheriff make that number a 20? Or
Pay our
10?
dispatchers as much as we can.
Additional
So you're
training.
saying the issue is that we don't have dispatchers, or we're not
We-
compensating them?
There's dispatchers, and they go to dispatching school, but they don't go into the prioritizing the incidents.
Competency?
Emergency,
we're
when you're talking, let's say just medical. We'll send you an ambulance and rescue, bye-bye. When they should be going, looking card by card, we've got one that's short of breath, lay them on the floor, give them oxygen if they, talk it through until the emergency folks reach the patient or something like that.
It's training.
It's training. That's
the whole
what it is. It's,
program as a
it
whole,
is a
schooling.
great program, but it's once these folks are certified, that writes their ticket anywhere they can go.
Right.
And you've got ambulance services, you've got hospitals, you've got police departments that are paying these guys high money, $40 to $50 an hour.
So are you saying we lost the well-trained ones to those places, or that's a possibility?
We haven't lost anything.
All right,
We just
so
hadn't
it's
met
not
that.
relevant for me.
We've never had any points in that area.
Gotcha. So if we earmarked a specific person for fire training specifically, right? Because the sheriff's department is doing all of it.
Right. Yes.
Would that be helpful?
Indeed.
Okay.
I would tell. I would.
A certified dispatcher, is that what
Yes,
we're talking
it
about?
is.
Because
Yes.
some of the terms we talked about up there was nurse navigators.
Unbelievable
certified
where it's going.
dispatchers.
It's unbelievable where it's all going to. Yes.
And I'm going to say this because one of the biggest issues that I see or that we have is we know we only have a certain amount of first responders and a certain amount of fire department folks. And I don't want to put anybody on the spot, and I know this is going to sound terrible, but I listen to the radio a lot. And I don't know how many times we get the same lift assist call or the same, my stomach hurts or my foot hurts. And somebody's got to go to it, and it's an ant bite or a bee sting that should not tie up first responders and medical staff for a bee sting. I've never called 911 for a bee sting, unless you're having an allergic reaction. Maybe they don't know. I mean, you always assume worst case scenario, but we see a lot of, I hear a lot of things that could probably, if the right person were on the dispatch call, may not send a paramedic or an EMT or, but it's, when we get it, in all fairness to the sheriff and the fire department and rescue, when you get a 911 call, it's an emergency. Everybody takes off, but we got to figure out a way to define what a true emergency is to stop the redundant calls that I feel like are not true emergencies. And if we get to that point, I think the ISO rating reflects that you have a better service orientation if you know that you're sending the right people to the right emergency.
Well,
I couldn't have said that one better.
If you all have problems with ambulance response times, it seems like that would be a major inhibitor and bog down the system if they're not going through sort of those questions and just immediately sending out
Right.
an ambulance and you have a true emergency. that
It's
sort of puts down
nationwide.
the list.
Right. And the way
It
I
is-
understood
it is nationwide.
If you don't have this certification, you're not legally equipped to do that. So
Right.
you can't determine what that call is all about. Yeah,
Right.
From the way we were told, you really
So it impacts
don't need to
your
be asking
ambulance
those
response
questions.
There's a lot of liability.
Legal
It is
liability.
liability big time. Please don't take this as throwing the sheriff under, it's not. We have got the best. On the fire end, we need somebody that I would love to have my hands on them, to send them to school and get them right.
So, to me, that sounds like an opportunity, interagency, right? Because
Yeah.
same folks, is the way I look at it. That's an opportunity. So have that conversation, because if we are not doing all those right things, the ambulance is going the wrong place or not going
Right.
to the right place at the right time. And then, of course, we also have backlog and not having the right people. So I'm about getting the right person. So let's figure that part out, because that's 20 points, right? And that's education.
That's big points.
That's compensation.
Yeah.
But more importantly, that's life-saving, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. And we can't put a price on somebody's life. All right. So that's the easy one to me.
Yes,
Hire
sir.
the right person.
Yes, sir.
Train them. All right?
We don't want to lose them. We got to pay them too. That's the big thing.
I think we've made a commitment. I think the chairman said it several times. I don't care if we have the highest paid departments in the country, as long as we get the service that
That's
we're
it.
used to.
I don't mind taking a criticism. I'll stand it all day long. It's our community's, safety and well-being is number one.
Right on.
So, Commissioner Martin, you'll appreciate this. CIPs, and I think Wendy would too, continuous improvement plans. And Don might shoot me for this, but I think this would be good homework for Don and whoever to look at the ones, and I would even prioritize them. If we got an opportunity for 50 points and we're only getting 3 points, what does it take to get more? And if there are some things, like if it was water and we don't have the available water, that's points we can't get right now.
Right.
But I think the priority plan should be the continuous improvement plan, is bring back something, say, here's the steps that you got to take. Put that on us and say, look, if you don't fund this, you're not getting this. If you don't hire this, you're not getting this. And I think that puts us on the block to get to that ISO, because we did hear one guy in our class said they went from, and it's a higher rating as you go down to a 1, right?
Right. That's correct.
They were at like, I don't know, a 9, and they got to a 4.5 or something like that, and it reduced his insurance by 50%.
Tremendous.
And
We did that in Levin's area on
Right.
and I don't
57.
want
We
anybody
went from a
thinking that
10
we're
to
gonna
a
reduce that
5.
by 50% day
If-
one, but I mean, to get that big of a difference, it makes a difference.
It was huge. I
Makes a
know it
difference on
was.
my insurance.
When I got here, we were 8. And from there, it took me 2 years to tweak some things, asked for a formal evaluation, and we scored a 5. And 5.5Y. And that's excellent for a volunteer department. When I tell you a little bit more about what's going on in the thick of this is just a small part right here. This,
But Don, I'm just going to say this. That's huge, because we're only 8.04 points away from the next class level. So
That's correct.
If we fix that, so I'm going to ask this.
It is
on the next
fixable.
agenda item. Articulate, next meeting, articulate what you need in the position to Shannon, and let us create that position and fund it. Right?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Next. All
Let's
right, looking under, we can fix that.
We just fixed it. Number 2.
Number 2, Fire Department Credit Communications. We It's all about the emergency reporting, the telecommunications, the dispatch circuits that dispatch us. They're intact. The most points we could have made on that was a 10. We're at 7.55, which is great. It's a B, where we went to school at, Chairman, a B.
C plus.
Next is fire department. Fire department, this is where credit for engine companies. We had 5.76. The most we could get was 6. I feel like we were there, okay? Reserve pumpers, at the time that we were evaluated, we did not have any reserves. Now we have 4 reserves. So for ISO wants one reserve for 8 engines. So we're there. We're easily there. So we'll get that half a point. Pumper capacity, 3. We got the most. Ladder service. We don't have any ladder trucks, but we have service vehicles that assist with our pumpers, which is our y'all have heard us talk about knockers. They carry 1,000 to 1,500 gallons of water, and we go 50-50 with the forestry with them. It's a water tender is what it is, a brush truck. So we put more gear on it, like a ladder and some hose and maybe a BA or 2, and get extra points for that. So what we did, it says credit for ladder service. Well, we tried to get as much as we could to assist our pumpers on those units, and they gave us 2.40, where we probably wouldn't have had nothing really if we didn't think about what we were going to put on those knockers.
So just out of curiosity, future truck, are we getting a ladder?
I would love to have a ladder. They're $1 million.
So
And that only gets you 1 point.
I understand. I know we don't have a bunch of 2-story houses right now.
1.6, 1.4, something like that.
Yeah,
It's
they're-
about 1.4, latest cost on a ladder truck.
Yes, and they're going up every day.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about the point as much as I am concerned about saving somebody's 2- or 3-story home.
It'll come with industrial growth.
Right.
It'll be a requirement.
I agree with that, John.
And that's where I was going with it, because if we have a client over in the industrial park, we need something, right?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
So splash
But
5 years from now.
we missed that numbers there, but we know that that the city of Gray will be right behind us if we requested them. We know that. Deployment analysis, I would have to look into that a little bit further, and have to read up on that. I think I had something a little bit. But I don't know where I made the notes at, and I don't see it clear here. Company personnel, that's a biggie. 15 points that are available, and we only received 0.67. This is why. Think this. This is going to freak you out. ISO states that, all right, we're graded just like a full-time department, like Macon is. We're no different whatsoever. Volunteer ratio, it takes 3 volunteers to be 1 full-time person. Now just leave that on the side right there. All right, so for every call, let's say every structure fire we have in the county, we are required by ISO to send 3 engine companies. So do the math. ISO says you've got to have 4 full-time people on each engine. Each engine. So how many volunteers do you need
12.
for each engine? So now we need 3 engines. Do the math. That's where we get killed at, y'all. I wanted to do it easy so we all know where we're at with this. It is extremely hard to do this in volunteer.
Is
So
it more hard now than it used to be? Because I thought we had a larger pool of volunteers, and now our volunteers.
we did. When I came here, now this is where policies come in. 15 years ago, when I took the oath, we had 157 members. Right now, we're at 93. 93, okay? Now, all of the folks the 157 people were not, a lot of them were seasoned and retired, but they were still on the roster. The state of Georgia has cleaned house with standards and training. Standards and training requires you to clear the slate. If they are not certified, they don't meet the criteria every year for training, you lose them. So volunteerism is going down. The state doesn't help. And that's where we're at with it.
So how do we locally recruit? Because we lost, I'm just doing the math, and I'm pretty good, Sam, but that was hard. That's 40%, 40.8% of our
Right.
folks we've lost. That's a high attrition rate where I come from.
We are in excellent shape when you talk to other departments that are our size. Excellent shape. Okay? It's a different time. I cannot explain the different time there is. People do not want to work for free anymore. These youngsters don't want to work for free anymore. They don't want to work, period.
Ooh, there's a grumble. Right.
Let
We-
me, can I ask a question, Doc? Do we have, and I know this, a lot of times this calls for tough questions, uncomfortable questions, and all that, but it's all in the name of making sure that we provide the best response to save our property and our people.
Yes, sir.
So, do we know how many, what the response percentage, not the response times or the response number of the calls, but the response percentage, meaning if we have 97 people and we have 100 calls, did the same 15 people respond every time? So do we have do we have a big number of folks that don't respond very often for whatever reason? I mean, there's a lot. I know that
Right.
people have full-time jobs,
Right.
and I hope none of them think that we don't. Oh my gosh,
Right.
appreciate them more than they even can imagine.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if they're requiring us to have so many people respond to a call, and we got 20 people, and 19 of them have full-time jobs that work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, that don't leave us much, even though it's a big full-time, I mean, a volunteer department.
Right.
It doesn't leave a lot of opportunities for people that are not at work when we get a call. And so that's where I'm going with, what is our percentage of responses to the calls?
You know,
I don't know all the people's names, but I can recognize voices, and we seem to
Oh,
have
yeah.
a lot of the
Same people.
People
Right.
respond. And I'm sure that's battalion chiefs and stuff, and the not battalion chiefs, but, you know, the station captains
Right,
that
yeah.
are the ones on the instant commander on scene.
Right.
So I'm sure that's why you're hearing a lot of them on the radio, but, I mean, I just noticed that there's a lot of this.
Yeah, there's a lot of the same. Yeah, there is.
Could you provide that on a spreadsheet to the commissioner?
I'm not sure if I could pull that off of Elite or not. I pretty much, let's see if I can. I've never, I do have a spreadsheet of how many calls they go on every year or every quarter or whatever. So I think that I can come up with something like that to
Can you
make something out of it.
Can you
Yeah.
add the demographic portion to it too? I'm curious to see the age group,
Yeah.
men, women, because I know you had a lot of volunteers. At one point, I remember I went out maybe 8 years ago on a training call, and it was pretty cool. But for some reason, we've lost a number. So I'm old school, right? Training, morale, support, equipment, right? Resources. If we give you trucks, we got breathing equipment, we bought new turnout gear, right? So we've got everything that we need. So now I'm going to get down to training and support, that's people, and then management, right? So it's going to be those things. So how do we make sure that we provide the training, because we got some low numbers there, and then also the support and then management, because there should be a pipeline of growth and development,
Right.
right? Because you said you're not going to stay here forever, so what's the career path for our volunteers, and how do they move up in the ranks, and are they
Right.
rewarded along the way to affect morale and to increase folks to come
I
volunteer?
got you.
And by the way, I asked for a work session because I didn't want to do this during business meeting, just.
Okay.
That might be the best plan too, is because this is a lot of stuff and it's so.
Well, I got more.
intricate.
I know.
But I want to make sure that you know that we have cured the problem with education.
Oh, amen.
Remember, 2 years ago, we bought a platform that would help us streamline our education.
So when do we move from 2.4 towards the 9? Because I see it's down.
It'll be
there.
it'll be closer to 9.
Okay.
I would say we're probably in the 7. We could even get we may be able to max that one.
Okay.
A good possibility.
Because we're only 8.4. And for citizens, when we move our ISO ratings, that there is an opportunity with your insurance company to get re-rated and lower your insurance policy. And that's huge when you think about 16,000 plus parcels and people paying insurance,
Right.
right?
I want to say this too, and I advised the chairman earlier. I called an insurance vendor today here in town, and they didn't know who I was. I didn't present myself as fire chief or anything like that. And I wasn't talking in. I'm a taxpayer.
Yep.
We're at a solid 5. If the fire department comes down to a 4, how much is my homeowners going to save? This is what kills me, because we spend a bunch of money to do the right thing. $3 a year, not month or anything like that, a year. The man told me, and he's not too far from here, he said that move up 2 numbers and you will see a difference. Move up 3, you're going to see a bigger. So I'm sorry of all this boredness. I really wanted to know about that, what direction. I think instead of looking at 4, we need to be looking at 3.
I don't disagree.
So,
My Allstate rep gave me 7% on a
Right.
$3,000 policy. That was $210.
Right.
I'll take that for now.
So education and more people out there, whether we get the grant, Safer Grant, we know we're going to get paid folks anyway around the clock. Those 3 people, that's going to help with points. I'm just trying to wind it up so I'm not so bored to everybody, but if you want to do a work session, I'll be glad to.
Okay. And for me, when you come to the work session, what we can do, right? So to help you get there, like Sam said, because I know we talked about this before, what you need from us. So let's do the work session in 2 weeks, what you need from us, right? Because we solved one of the problems tonight, and that's identifying that position, creating
Yeah,
the
that's a big one
workforce,
there.
and
It
put the
is.
money behind it.
It's tough, but we can do it.
Okay.
And I want to do it. I've been wanting to do it.
Count
We
on it.
went we're down to a 5 now. I didn't want to look at it 8. I was just surprised that we hadn't gone any further than that. But 5 is excellent for us. We can do better.
Okay.
I just wish we had 100% water. But we're working on it.
Okay. All right.
Anything else on that?
I'm good.
Okay.
John?
I know we got budgets coming up and all that too, so
If y'all want to
But-
have a work session before the budget for
It's needed.
ideas, I think that'd be
It's
a
needed.
a very healthy work session.
because I'm going to put in for funds for that dispatcher, but I'll have to get with Jason to see how we can disperse that to the sheriff's office, that person that's dispatching.
Gotcha. Just out of curiosity, Gray is volunteer and paid as well?
Strictly volunteer.
Strictly volunteer. Have they lost the same 40% that we've lost?
I believe there are 4,
They're-
4 something.
They're
No. That's the ISO rating. I'm talking about volunteers. Have they lost the same percentage of volunteers?
From the city department, it's a struggle, but it's a nationwide issue of volunteerism. It's like what Don said, young people, they want to get paid, and getting volunteers is a struggle nationwide.
I'm just looking
You
for
go to
some best
Vermont,
practices.
Same thing, go to California, same
What's
thing.
working and what's not.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
Don, I'm going to ask, we talked about training over the last years, and I know we've made some adjustments and done a lot more. in our work session, we can talk about what changes we've made, what worked best, do we need to do more of that, and what, we made a lot of changes that didn't work, let's kind of push that off.
Well, the training with the city, we're up onto that. Actually, we are class together this weekend coming up. I would invite y'all, but I don't know if there's any more places left. There was 100 openings, but I'm not sure if it's already filled up. We opened it up for outside.
I nominate the chair and vice chair for this
Yeah.
Saturday.
It's actually over the alkaline batteries and what they're doing to our country and to our fire departments.
Can you make sure Jason has this and we post this on the website so people can see what this is? Perfect.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We got everything you got full-time?
That was me again.
Go ahead.
So
You volunteer, nigga, you're-
we'll do this quick. I know we had allocated funds for full-time firefighters last year.
Yes, sir.
To go to those areas that needed the services. So where are we on that?
We are not actively hiring at this time. We've got the money. The money's there. But we applied for the SAFER grant.
Okay.
We apply for the SAFER grant, we lose all ground on the SAFER end.
Gotcha.
We could save $2.4 million if we get that grant
How-
to the
how-
taxpayers
how
in
long?
3 years.
How long before we know?
I don't
Could
think
be
that-
fall.
Yeah, they hadn't given a timeline
Okay.
on the awards, have they?
I've been in probably in his office every other week because it's concerned me.
Gotcha.
We need the people now, but if we change our numbers, that's going to change the whole vernacular of our grant.
That's simple, 2.4
And-
million. You have me at 2.4.
Yes, in 3 years' time.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Student employment, you're still up?
Student employment. So each year we used to use workforce development, leverage workforce development to provide student employments from the schools to our departments. And I know, I didn't ask about it before, so Shannon, do you know if we had many or do we still have any openings?
We work with the Career Academy, and we have already hired several students that work in different departments.
Okay.
Every time I've gone to workforce development, we've done that, we've gotten nothing.
Okay. But internally with our school kids, for our new department heads as well, we have the ability to bring students on and have them work with us. So obviously it creates a work-based learning opportunity, but it also creates a pipeline because not everybody's going to college, and some of you guys have really cool jobs and do cool stuff, and it'd be nice to have them work along with us. So if we still have those opportunities, let's share them, post them so people know, and we can get some more kids. Because I saw some kids walking, and I'm like, you should be working.
Don't judge.
I'm just saying.
I can't believe you saw them walk.
They were going to their second.
They were walking. I was like, yeah, it was hot out too.
All right, if we can move on, gray water rates, Mr. Risner?
So I've had some conversation with the mayor pro tem. I know they've had some internal conversation there with the city. Part of that conversation centered on how long the agreement could be. There is written in the state law a 10-year maximum on these agreements, and so that's the top end of where we could go. They prefer something more like a 5-year agreement. And so that's one of the things that we have to kind of hash out. The other thing that we've been having internal dialogue about is the rates, and essentially trying to get them to purchase kind of in the sweet spot for us. I mean, we want it to be workable for them and us, and so Brandon and Tim and I and Ashley have been having some dialogue about what exactly those numbers look like and what volume we're comfortable with. And so I think in terms of direction from this group, I think it'd be good to see how y'all feel about the 5-year versus 10-year thing. We do have to build in an escalation clause. There's something in state law that requires an escalation at least every 2 years. And so we'll build that in. But just any feedback from y'all, and then it might be good if we get that feedback, and then staff or chairman could work with the city on those numbers, and then bring back an agreement for the board to consider adopting.
Say the max we do is 10, but they want to hold it 5.
Mm-hmm.
Based on GFA and any other programs that we have in place and the bond repayment, does that make sense?
I think, I don't know that those come into play necessarily on the 5-year or 10-year thing, but I think in terms of your capital planning, the longer you can lock that in, the better. And so, from a capital planning standpoint, I think 10 years makes a lot more sense for us.
Right. Because I know when we get ready to borrow money, they always ask, what are our rates and what are we charging? And is there an opportunity for increase? And if we're locked in at 10, but we have that guaranteed escalation and there's an opportunity, but if we're locked in at 5 and we can increase in the middle, that may not be a bad opportunity as well. I'm just curious, so let us know and schedule it.
So generally, y'all prefer the 10-year term, is that safe to say?
We do, but I mean, I'm kind of, if they only want 5, I think the rates need to change to 5 versus 10. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They only want 5, we're gonna have to, they get a sweeter deal on 10 than they would 5. And we're trying to make a win-win for everybody, but we got to make sure that, long term, because I don't think we got anything on 5 years. Most everything government don't move on 5 years, it moves on 10 on a lot of projects. What y'all's thought?
I like it. Is the 5-year going to be closer to the minimum usage rate, which is higher, or are you giving them guidance in that direction?
They have, lowest they have bought from us in the last 16 months is 5.3. So they'll hit that every single month, no matter what. They'll hit the 5 million gallons every single month.
But in terms of the actual rate that we charge, because we have a recommended rate based on 10-year, the 5-year rate, will it be higher, like the charge of the minimum usage?
That's
I think we could certainly do that, yeah.
Okay.
That's the trade-off, higher rate for.
That's what I was getting at, so it's gonna be a higher rate for 5 years versus 10.
Right.
So if they wanna get a better rate, they can get it better on a 10-year rate than they can a 5. So
Straight off.
And those are the same handouts we had previously, so I hadn't updated those to reflect any of these conversations. They did ask too about a lower minimum amount. And so, again, I think from our standpoint, it makes sense to have that higher. If you're looking to secure your customer there, and ensure that they stay our customer, it makes sense to have a higher take or pay amount and a longer term.
I agree.
Mr. Kitchen, what's your thought?
I agree that, the city's doing their job. They're negotiating what, to try to get a better deal, but we also have looked at our finances for future projections. And I think we know what we have to have, and for us to do less means we got to pay that portion of it. So,
Right.
I think we've made I didn't think we were negotiating. I thought it was a good offer and a fair offer. They're not really paying anything more than they're paying now. They're just guaranteeing what they've been paying for years. And I thought it was fair, not us shoot high and they shoot low and we start working towards the middle. I thought it was, but
Yeah, they're getting a win at wherever we're at on the negotiation versus where they're at now.
our intent was to secure funding so we could project long-term projects. And I don't think we can really do that in 5 years.
I don't either.
That's a minimum 10-year project. We're looking 30, 40, 50 years out on some of our, especially when you start talking about water and sewer and infrastructure projects.
Yeah.
Most of them are minimum 20, 25 years that we're paying back the money on.
Right.
So,
Right.
So the board's consensus is the only option they got is the 10-year? We're trying to make it, usable.
I think the gentleman with constituents in the city should probably answer that, because the water department's in my district. The answer is yes, but
Longer terms,
Yeah.
10 years. It's better rates.
Do we need that in the motion, or do we just need to do another sit-down with Mayor Pro Tem or whoever we need to sit down with?
Yeah, I think we can talk internally and put together some type of letter to them.
Okay.
You can postpone to allow staff to continue to negotiate.
Motion to postpone to allow time for staff to continue to negotiate, Chairman.
A second from Commissioner Martin. Oh, I see.
No, I didn't second. I was smiling because I was going to lock him into 10 years, but you know.
Oh, I thought you were smiling. We got a motion, second. All in favor, any more discussion? I hear though 10 years. I mean, I ain't got a problem with 10 years either. I mean, it's a win-win for me either way.
I like 10 years.
That's where we're at, right?
You're 10 years?
Yeah.
All right.
Negotiations
All
gonna
in
move
favor,
up.
aye?
Aye. Is that not negotiation?
Where were we at?
Keep Jones
Budget,
beautiful.
oh,
Keep Jones.
budget and hearing format, Mr. Risner.
So it's budget season again, and,
Y'all through with it yet?
no.
Just,
Feels like we just had it.
I know.
it does, don't it? That's why I was making the joke. I thought
Yeah.
it was through.
So I just wanted to ask the board, what your preference was in terms of the format for our budget hearing. There's, I guess the past few years, we've done kind of a Saturday.
All
you know,
day Saturday and get it over with.
Yeah. Does that suit everybody?
Yeah, that would be great.
I can neither confirm nor deny that I'll be present on that particular Saturday. Let me know, because summer birthday is here, so let me know what day.
Every Saturday?
I was gonna say,
Oh, look, I'm celebrating 50 all year long, so
Yeah,
let me know.
well, next year, every Saturday be open, because he's over it then. I don't want another one.
Yeah, I like the all day, just get over and done and go from there. Motion?
Would y'all rather have 2 half days?
Of course.
what if you did like an all-day on a Friday? Would that be
It's
easier?
okay. I think we did some of that too. It's
Would you
okay.
be-
Go with the
Would
Saturday.
you be present?
I just need to know what Saturday, that's all. This Saturday
I
I'll be in
can-
El
I can
Salvador.
I can do it Friday.
I can do Friday or
Yeah,
Saturday.
That
Summer.
may be easier for your department heads
Yeah.
and stuff to come in.
I
for
see any
your
head
weekend.
nodding.
Look at that. Friday,
Yeah.
see?
Friday.
Look,
I think-
y'all
I think
remember.
We got a
I
motion
got
in
you.
the second from department heads for all day Friday.
Come back with some dates.
How's that?
Friday.
That works for me.
All right, I think we
Thursday's
got
even
enough
better.
And we're starting at like 7:30. We ain't starting at 9 o'clock. I don't know who gets bankers.
Can we
hours
check
in.
Thursday too?
Sounds like I want breakfast and lunch to be here.
That's right. 7 to 7:30. Let's don't start this middle
And
of the day
breakfast.
stuff.
Good
We-
point. Thank you.
All right,
Biscuits.
we good on that?
Yes.
We got, you ready for Keep Jones Beautiful, Mr. Risner?
Yes, sir. So I think everyone's aware we've got an opening there in the executive director role with Keep Jones Beautiful. Just wanted to ask the board a couple questions related to that. One is, do we want to fill that position? And two, if the answer to that is yes, what specific things does the board envision that person doing? I think in the past, we've had some functions there where we would and the city would pay money in to Keep Jones Beautiful, and then they turn around and hire a contractor to do landscaping or lights or that type of thing. For those particular functions, I think it makes a lot more sense for us just to do that directly. I mean, if they're vendors we're using for other things, there's no point in sending the money to that organization and them turning around and doing the same thing. But there are also other, events, the cleanup events and that type of thing that they may be able to contribute to and enhance. So just want to get everybody's thoughts on those two things.
So whether we decide to fill the position or combine the position or work with the city on a joint position or a joint venture, whatever, I think we have to keep the designation. We got to keep the Keep Jones Beautiful designation because we get money directly from Keep America Beautiful every year to do some of these things. And also, that's how you get your Tree Cities USA designation, which is, you get money and you get trees and you get donations for beautification projects that are going to come directly out of our general fund, or B, we're just not going to do them. And if you look around every city's, Macon's had Tree Cities USA for like 200 years. I don't know how long we've had it, probably. Let's see, who in the office, Miss Sherry might know.
I
Maybe
think
Mr. Judy?
we've had it about 6 or 7 years, Wesley Wells was doing it for us as far as the paperwork and all. We worked with him, we met quarterly, and it is a good recognition for the city. People coming through the county and the city, I've had them tell me, and I've had some people say, we moved here because your city is so pretty and clean. To me, you know, that was a very big compliment. We do have some contractors that come in, but we get out there and we dig in the ground, we plant flowers. I do have to have, I say I, because I'm still part of the board.
She's doing it.
It's my baby. But, we have, sprinkler systems that we have to depend on the county to help us get them up and get them going every year. I'm not an electrician, you know, and I can't do this type of things. So we work with the county and the city. We have, days that we plant trees in memory and honor of people. Keep Jones Beautiful buys the trees. I mean, there is a lot that goes on behind the scene that people don't see. Any questions?
I think
you
we
want
got
to start.
I stopped money.
I was thinking of her. I said, when do you want to start?
And Miss Judy knows why I called her Sherry, you know, just, that's getting old age, ain't it, for me. I
And
would,
Sam, you've worked in this with Bibb County, so
Yeah.
you know.
yeah,
that
I wouldn't,
It's a great organization.
yeah, I wouldn't support not doing it. I think we need to identify what the needs are, what the goals are, and what the responsibilities are of the position. Maybe, you know, revamp that, but I mean, I would even go so far as to say, you know, we have a great time and we do a great job with the cleanup. Once a year is not a drop in the bucket. It needs to be, you know, 3 or 4 times a year. So, and I think having that Keep Jones Beautiful position, we just need to depend more on it. I think it kind of got its own thing for a while.
Also, the Sheriff's Department too, and they will help us, but we have to allocate money to them for gas, and they will take some of the inmates and come around and help us clean up during the year. Somebody has to, you know, be able to coordinate that.
So, Sam, since you really know a lot about this, and
I'm not doing it.
and the board, they have a board, and she is very
That's right.
active, right? I think that's a great place to start. Because when I see Keep Jones Beautiful, I think of Jones, right? So I drive in up Sherland Drive, and I don't see the same thing that I see when I come down Great Highway. Or if I'm coming from Edenton, it doesn't feel and seem the same way. And I'm thankful for the cleanups. So when I think of Keep Jones Beautiful, I think of Keep Jones Beautiful, right? So if we can incorporate that part and look at all of the entrances and even how we tie in our public and private partners, right, to participate, because they all have a vested interest. People stop where it is attractive and it appears to be safe and taken care of. We're a corridor for the University of Georgia. I don't understand why we're not UGA all the way, and that's a part of it, right, because we take advantage of football season. And I'm from Connecticut, so I'm going to say UConn, go Huskies, right? But that's the opportunity, right? And Keep Jones Beautiful, that's a part of it. And during our football season, I think all of those things add to the beautification, as well as the flowers and the trees and everything else. So I'd like to see all of that incorporated. That's all I got. So I'm not jumping on the committee for it, but I hope that it looks at the whole Jones, because that ties into our parks and everything else.
Yeah, and I think that directly reflects to the resources that we throw at it, because every entryway into our communities is a state route. And so you got to have that partnership. I mean, Keep Jones Beautiful cannot, like, legally beautify Gray Highway at the county line, or 49 at the county line, or 57 at the county
But just
line.
the signage, right?
Right, without, and all that's even changed now with DOT, that they don't want you to put signs on a route.
We got them.
You know, you just do it.
We
We
got
do
it.
have like a Keep Jones Beautiful committee, like with the garden clubs and things like that, and they could come up with more projects than just the one cleanup, and it would be a committee that would have, sort of new and fresh ideas instead of relying on one person to spearhead all of that.
There was a board sometime back, and
Is it still active?
No, during the COVID, kind of disappeared, and
Do you remember who the board members were?
Mary Musselman, Cecil Etheridge, Debbie came to some of our meetings. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We would have minutes of who
There was a subcommittee on Jones County Plan that worked on a whole bunch of ideas for the entrance ways and coming into the county.
Well, they did take vouch for the Lake Myrtles.
Who would be the best person to bring us recommendations on how to, A, revitalize, B, I don't want to say incentivize, but, how do we get the robust team we need to make it happen? Because we've all sat up here and thought, I'm gonna throw a number, we're throwing $20,000 a year at an issue that, and then we say, we're not getting anything. Well, we're not getting anything because it's not enough, or we're not using the resources the right way. But if we know the need is there and we know we're putting resources toward it, how do we get the best
Well, I would get, I'd
result?
be glad to help, work on that. Charlene, will you help me?
I was waiting on these volunteers to jump in.
But I will get a group of volunteers. You tell me what
Okay.
you want. And like I said, a lot of people don't see what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah, we don't.
No, you got
Three tourist trails too that come into the county that need to be taken into consideration in terms of how we look to the tourists who are hopefully traveling those trails.
We can get
Maybe
those
that board
stakeholders
could get back together and then come and present some ideas to you all.
do a work session, but when we get the stakeholders and all involved, have a nice work session.
Saturday or a Friday?
Like a meet before, a work session before one of the meetings that we could, see what the needs are and get it that way.
Can you help us find some minutes or something that we
Oh,
can
yeah, we
start
have
working?
minutes.
Yeah,
minutes.
let's work on getting that revived.
Yeah.
So you could reach back out to the board members
Okay.
and see who's interested in staying on and who might need to be replaced.
And Tiffany, she was a board member too. And there's things like, we go into schools and we teach the children. We have an Envirorscape that we
See,
teach
those are
third
good
graders.
with the
We go into
greenhouse, that's good.
kindergartners. We,
Yeah.
Hold
Earth
on,
Day.
Miss
We do-
Judy. I know you've been talking for a while. Do you mind coming up to the microphone just so everybody can hear you?
So you can officially volunteer.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we do go into the schools. We do Earth Day with kindergartners. We do Envirorscape with third grade. We do a lot that a lot of people don't know. We try to go to all the schools, not just pinpoint one school. We had a puppet program, but when the pilot club started doing the puppet program, we gave them our puppets. Like I said, we work with the sheriff's department. We work with the probation office if we can get some probationers. And that's the hardest thing, because on Saturdays is usually when they all want to do their work. I even have probation people to come in and I'd lead them down to the school. You let them get their GED. There's just a lot that goes on that, a lot of people just don't
Different
know.
community service portions of it, from the school-based to the probation-based, all of them.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, all of it.
And I, when I worked, I was supposed to work 20 hours, but you can ask around the people that's been here. 20 hours won't get it done. I worked almost full-time, but I did it because I wanted to give back to my community.
Amen.
So, and you've got people out there that want to do it, that they don't know. I've had people say, well, what do y'all do? And I stop and try to explain it to them, what we do behind the scenes, because you can see what's done. Carroll Park right now is in dire need of the cupola being reworked.
Revamp the a park or adopt a highway.
Right,
all
right. We
those
did all the
things.
signage. The county worked with me getting the signs, getting them on the streets, getting them on the road. We got the high school. We have a program with the special needs children in the high school in recycling cardboards. And we have a cardboard machine that, compresses it. Those kids get some of that money. That's how they take some of their trips, Special Olympics. That's things that people, they don't know we do that. We do that at our recycling center.
We didn't know you did that.
Well, and the next person's not gonna know you do all that, or that position should sort of do all that if it's not laid out in sort of expectations of what that organization takes over.
Brain dump opportunity.
Yeah, let's work on that. I got a lot of information on it. We can throw our
Okay.
stuff together.
Thank you very much.
Thank y'all, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
To Arlene's point about trails, we have historic markers, and I don't know if you've been by any of the battlegrounds, but right on Henderson Road, that one looks really terrible, and now there's a big hole there where somebody has done something, but it's huge, so people can't even really pull into some of the parking spaces, and those need to be maintained as well. So, package all
Where are
that.
those at?
Right at Henderson Road, right in front of the battleground, there's the markers that are there. The parking lot is torp, and even around the markers is not as attractive as it could be. And that's my cycling route, so I see people over there all the time, but they kind of figure out, I'll just park and walk and look at it. Oh. That makes sense, because there was a lot of water there, but nobody patched it over, so now it's a hazard.
All right, we can move on. Need a quick motion to postpone our, for Ms. Wagner, the beer and wine license. We're still waiting on fingerprints.
Motion to postpone the beer and wine license, Chairman.
Second.
Second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Mr. Rizzo, you want to do some introduction tonight?
Yes, sir.
I'll just start off with you.
First, I'd like to introduce our new Public Works Director, Sean Wood. Sean, come on up. Sean got started with us yesterday, and we're happy to have him and look forward to everything he's going to do there at the Public Works Department. So, Day two.
When you come to one of these meetings, you get to come up on your department head, so
Yes, sir.
here's your
Well,
chance to start us off
Do
right.
you know about the hole on 49 in Grizzleville?
I've had
You know about the spot on
I've had a couple of grand tours already, so yeah, I'm familiar with a lot, and looking forward to working with everybody and joining with you guys and gals in serving the citizens of Jones County. This is a great place. I'm already seeing that, and it's a good family atmosphere, and I'm just excited about the future. So.
Great.
And I know the complaints will be coming in, and I was telling the chairman I met with a nice lady this morning, and we're going to see about getting her problem squared away. But looking forward to being able to serve the citizens and help with some of the problems that we've been facing, and really love the guys. I've met a lot of the guys in the department, and I think we got a great group.
You're learning the nicknames too, aren't you?
Nicknames are the most important. You don't really need to know their real names. Yes, sir.
True.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Glad to have you, man. Looking forward to it.
It's great to be here.
Welcome.
Thank you. Mr. Rizzo, you have anything tonight?
I was just going to mention two other things real quick that we're working on that'll touch several departments. One of them is we're working on our centralized purchasing setup, and I'll be talking more to the board about that. We're excited about that and savings and efficiency that'll bring. And just in the last few days, we've been having additional conversations about ArcGIS and enhancing our GIS capabilities, really, that where we can take all this information that has traditionally been just in people's heads and that we've lost when they've retired or departed, and getting all that memorialized online so that it'll be there for perpetuity. So we're excited about the possibilities there, and we're just starting to wade into all that, but it's going to be a great thing for us. So just wanted to mention those things.
Good thing. Young ladies don't have
Yes, I have a message from Miss Levita Crutchfield
Okay,
to clarify the record.
okay.
So she was just concerned about a comment that Ms. Smar made, that she was told that she was not getting paid. And Levita said that that was not the message relayed, that she cut the check, and told Ms. Smar the next step really would be for her to come before the board, not that she was not getting paid. Levita just did not want the board to think that she, was
Right.
making decisions about
She
who
was
was and was not getting paid on issues like that. So she was concerned about it, and I told her I would clarify.
So we just go by the minutes and we.
Yes,
right.
exactly.
And it,
Yeah.
I mean, you got to go by the minutes, and she
Yes.
did exactly what she's supposed to.
Yep. And we need to add litigation to executive session.
Okay.
Open enrollment's going on right now, so if you haven't enrolled, you have till Friday at midnight.
Did mine today. Young lady said she's glad to come in. She'd been wanting more people to come in. She was getting a little bored out there for a minute. She said everybody bombarded her and then stopped. Got mine done. Don? You good?
The fire station number 5 out on Green Settlement Road. Go by there and check out that roof.
Looking good.
I was totally surprised.
Wow.
Totally.
Mitch, they're good.
Totally.
They're good. Brandon, you're laughing. What we got?
I'll save my talking for next one with the budget. But the only thing I really had to add, we're about finished with our office renovations, hopefully by this end of the month. Took a year, but we're almost there.
Come by and
Our own
check.
house, so when that's done, we'll invite everybody out for a lunch or something.
All right,
Let y'all
sounds
see
great. Sounds good.
What's been done.
Great. Bert?
Everything's going good. We're pleased to, we were really pleased to host our first Little League baseball softball tournament this past week. That went extremely well. The regional director of Little League was there. He was really impressed with our facility and our staff, and as was I, and as was our local volunteer association. It took Little League, they rely on a lot of volunteers, so all the scorekeepers and officials were all volunteers as well. So it was nice to have them, show out for Jones County. And also our scoreboards all work perfectly, which has been a problem in the past, but they all work good. So we were happy to have that go out without a hitch. And of course, most importantly, our 7 and under coach pitch brought home a district championship in Lubbock.
Nice.
Wow.
So proud of that.
That's great. That's great. Any more department heads? We'll move on to citizen comments. Any citizen tonight want to come forward? What a minute. He's already just come up, man. You want to come back?
No, sir, I'm good.
All right.
Unless you have questions.
I didn't miss him. I let him go first.
Kick him again, Nathan. Kick him again.
Got it. You know she keeps me straight, right? Ooh, I got one on each side. I think Reverend beat you on the hand raise.
That was a praise raise.
A what? Finger raise?
Praise raise.
Praise raise.
You do
I
go
knew
to
it was.
You
I
did
knew-
go to church, right?
I knew it was.
He might need to go more often.
Yeah, that may help.
You gotta give him both of them.
Yeah.
I go every Sunday.
We got to get him there on Wednesday night too, Reverend.
Wood. You know that dick how we put up water tanks and run fire hydrants? That was a joke. That was a joke. They knew what it was about. Do you? No, I had a question for Commissioner Martin. You were talking about the student jobs. Are those summer jobs or are they continuing jobs, after school jobs? How long?
This lady right here can answer that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, they can last all year. It depends on when the student graduates from high school and moves on.
Oh, so it's not just, because I've heard a couple of, well, one of the students is a Jones County grad. He has a scholarship in soccer, so he's going, but out of state. And he's leaving in July. He wanted to make some extra money before he, that's why I was asking, is it just summer jobs or whatever?
Yeah, some of them just work for the summer until they go back to school.
Okay, another question, they paying jobs, right?
Yes, they are.
Y'all said it, young people don't work. And also, how do you, when will these jobs be posted? How will you know about them?
I work with the Career Academy, so.
The Career Academy.
At the high school.
Okay.
Because you have to meet certain
All right.
qualifications to be able to, through the school system, to be able to work.
Okay, yes, so it has to come through the school system?
Yes, sir, we do work.
Oh, okay, well, that's my question, thank you.
But the workforce development is independent of the school.
That's correct, yes.
It works through, but it is independent.
Your workforce development is separate fund, separate administration from the school system. So that's a different pool.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
And that offers wider job opportunities, it should.
Okay. I'll talk to you after the meeting one.
Let him have it, Brandon.
Neil Thornton, live out on Union Hill Church Road. I know it's been a couple, 3 months since the state agreed to pay, 80% or 70% on the rebuilding the bridge.
Right.
I just wonder when construction might start. Have you got any bids back or anything like that?
We're working through all the preliminary steps right now. The last I heard from our engineer was that the environmental work had been submitted. And so we'll have to get that back before we can proceed to bidding it out in the construction. So we're anytime you do anything around water like that, there's a lot of steps involved, and so we're working through all that before we get to construction.
Well, how long does it take to get a report, a environmental report? I mean,
That's
it's,
state.
Yeah, it's Georgia APD.
it doesn't seem like it'd be that hard.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it is.
Oh, yeah.
It's not an easy or quick process to work
We
through.
don't have to do any
Illogical.
yeah, thank you.
Not that we've been, not that we're aware of at this point, no.
Good, because I mean, that would be the next step after we do environmental, and then go in there and look for Indian arrowheads or so, lucky we bypass that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
don't
there's-
have any
they
endangered
don't, because-
species out there, do we?
The Indians never used the bridge.
They never use the bridge?
Well, can you go ahead and start with the bidding, letting bids out? That'd put you ahead of it, while you get bids before things go up more.
I think we've probably got to get these preliminary reports back first before we can settle on a final design. I think that all that's got to be done kind of at the front end. So we'll move it through as quickly as we can, and
I just hadn't heard anything the past few months, and
right.
just, I know it's kind of, makes me, I don't know what you'd call it, but bicycles come up through there a good bit on the weekends. We were coming to Gray, and we caught up with two bicycles fixing to go down Union Hill Church Road, on Union Hill Church Road, where we have to detour and go around Hideaway. The bridge, they can still walk across it. So they go on down toward the bridge, and we have to go all the way around the detour. And takes us about 15 to 20 minutes to come all the way around that 5 miles. We got to where Union Hill Church comes back out on Shoal Creek. I said, I wonder how far the bicycles, if they've got up the hill now. We got almost to Damascus Church Road, and there were the same two bicycles way ahead of us, but they had stopped on the bridge there at Nelson's taking pictures.
You need to get the bicycle.
Well, they got an electric one down at Ace, but the range isn't far enough.
You had a bunch of them last Saturday,
yes.
Red Road Rival there, boy, they were coming through there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of them. They come right by your house, didn't they?
A lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of
Ones
them
that
go a
got
long way
lost.
around.
Yeah, but yeah, there's probably 75 to 100.
Yeah, there's they used to do it in August. And we'd be getting ready at church for homecoming, and then some of them would stop and take a look at the church, but a lot of them would come by about 40 miles an hour on that dirt road.
But if speaking of churches, a lot of people, well, I say a lot, we had 5 Sunday at the church. We lose 2 families because they said they just not coming around that long dirt road to church anymore. So the churches try to keep it open, but it's about to close up. And it's like the second oldest church in Jones County, second or third. It was 1835. So we tried. But if you get the shortcut fixed, get Union Hill, get the bridge fixed, they said we'd probably start coming back. But that extra 5 miles around that rough dirt road, city got your end fixed pretty good on Hillsborough Lake Road. When they fixed the road, they filled in a bunch of potholes. Didn't do anything to the other end though. Them potholes are still there. Thank you.
You got the man right there. Anyone else tonight? All right. Who wants to start off tonight? Commissioner Kitchen?
Well, I will say thank you to all our staff members, our department heads that are keeping the departments rolling, keeping us looking good and hearing good things. Bert was right. We got a lot. You don't always get good coverage on social media, but we got a lot of it this week between opening of the parks. I had somebody call me, I don't know, a few months back about the scoreboards, and I don't ever remember us having an opening day with all the scoreboards working. And I called Bert, and he said, we're going to try our best. And he called me back after opening day. He said, I'm not believing that. He said, that looked cool. So, yeah, kudos to all of our staff that are doing amazing jobs. Follow up. Actually, I know we had to work with the city on the low-speed vehicle things. Any update on that?
I thought y'all's instructions were, it wasn't disallowed, so you were just gonna tell the tax commissioner to tag them.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I thought that.
Did we tell the,
I don't mind working on it, I just thought you all said.
Yeah, that
we
was
don't
that was
need
my
you to
thought.
do
Don't
that.
create a problem if we don't have one.
I thought we were
I
just
think
gonna.
that's exactly
Okay.
what you said.
Uh-huh.
Well, I thought
You
we
made a
still
motion
have,
too, I think.
I know. I thought we were still having to have one. So
He's starting to get from guilt when it's over there.
That he can.
what day is this?
That Mr. Jackson can, I mean, pursuant to state law, if it's an allowed vehicle that meets all the qualifications, he can tag them.
All right. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we'll just.
And if he needs, I can reach out to him. If he needs something specific changed or an ordinance on it, I'll be happy to do it.
Yeah, I don't know that the people that were asking about it were have gone back to try to get them tagged, and so we'll go that route and see if all's good.
If I need to do
Thank you.
something, I will.
No, it's my bad. Again,
Skip.
that's all I got, Chairman. Thank you.
Commissioner Wood?
Well, I want to thank Bert for his hard work, his staff's hard work in Haddock. He's got some new equipment over there, and I appreciate the restrooms being open for the public to use. Look forward to continuing improvements in that area, and looking forward to budget negotiations and requesting additional funds for improvements to that park, because they're much needed. I want to thank Jason for the update on the bridge at Union Hill Church Road, because that'll be much needed and greatly appreciated once, as progress comes, just give us updates. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Martin?
Concur with everyone else. Great job, Bert, and the rest of the team for making the parks work. It's very seldom we get positive feedback on Facebook about that, so I was excited to see that. So, save that one, frame it, because if something bad happens, just go back to that one. All right, go back to the hanging on the fridge. And that goes, for Water Department, Public Works, you guys keep us going. I haven't heard any complaints. There haven't been any water outages, so life is good. Just real quickly, excited about the grant opportunity. I did get a call. I can't remember who it was, but I saved it in my phone under Rails to Trails. They talked about that train line, right? And I remember it was a regional project some years ago to connect Macon, Jones, and Baldwin County. So if you guys are at those meetings or you hear about it, Jason talked to Greg put that back on the agenda. Basically, anybody that's been to Atlanta and they have the Beltline or the Comet, they just basically take the rail, they make it live in their carts and other things you can use on them, and they also make it walkable. It also is a revenue stream generating opportunity if you put the components out there to make it work. And connecting Macon, Jones, and Baldwin for our cyclists and for those that might be going to church too, it's a great opportunity for us in our community to leverage the resource, because I don't know how many miles of rail we have, but it's a good bit. So just keep that in mind. I didn't have anybody to call on this, but I'm glad you're back. We have these cameras along trash routes, right? And on Grizzleville Road, there's a camera that points in that direction, and there's 2 trash bags 2 telephone poles away. There's 3 now. It's 3 now. All right. So they got there, I think, on Sunday, because I pedaled on Saturday or Friday, and they weren't there. So I don't know how our system works, but we can go back and look at, we're tied in with the sheriff, so supposedly we can look back and identify maybe who threw the trash out. But it was right there within 2 telephone poles of the camera, so I think they could see it. So
That's Wendy's
please.
stocking up for next year.
Wendy's stocking. Okay, but we have that out there for us to try and help alleviate some of the drama and the challenge, because Public Works ends up helping us pick that trash up, or the mowers blend it into the grass as they go by. So we're trying to do better with that. And again, back to the job opportunities. If we do have some workforce development stuff that's available, let's push that out to the department heads and let folks know. Because I think kids getting into our county government earlier is going to make a big difference.
Yep. We just merged with Macon Bid. We'll have our first meeting the end of this month, and looking for big things. I talked to a young lady just a while ago about things we can expect to happen. I said, that's great, because I think it's going to be a great merger. As I said earlier, Commissioner Kitchen and Commissioner Vaughn and I, we did some, you made a statement that our department, for its size, is doing good on volunteers compared to a lot of counties. And they, once again, I've said this time and time again, when people say, boy, Jones County's got a strong group going down there, and how do you do it? And it's just Jones County. But it was a great class. I really learned a lot both days. 911, it was real eye-opening. I'm looking forward to the work session for it. It's nice. Bert and I made this comment. I've had comments on the water department, and I know we're going to have comments on our public works too, but we don't get a whole lot of compliments. And when you start getting those compliments, it's nice. I've had compliments with on all aspects, and it's sometimes we don't get that. It's kind of disheartening. But when you do get that positive support, it's like somebody did notice, and we appreciate all y'all very much.
Oh, and I did write this down. I wrote workforce development and put an arrow for EMA. If there's an opportunity to create some workforce development jobs inside of the fire stations, where the kids can work, and then that might lead into the volunteerism side.
And 2 to join.
Okay, excellent.
Yes, like I said, I'm looking forward to this meeting on workforce development, because they got a lot of good ideas. It's been long in coming. But if I can
Chairman,
go ahead.
I was going to make a comment for my partner, Commissioner, Ms. Vaughn over there, Commissioner Vaughn. I know she would want me to say it. Well, first of all, we had graduation since our last meeting, and she put all kinds of pictures on social media of some of our wonderful graduates, and it's really good to see this time of year when you see all the people that are wide-eyed coming out of it when we graduated from high school, like, what in the world is next? And that's exactly right, the world is next. So it's good to see. But I know she would want me to say that for another year, she gets to keep that trophy, because she is the reigning champion, and she was the winning district in the trash pickup community-wide cleanup. So I just got to say that she did. She outpicked us by what, 20-something bags?
Oh,
But,
wow.
yeah, so close. We're gonna get them next year.
Commissioner Martin, I helped you. Now,
I appreciate you.
She
Thank
been
you so
saving our
much.
household trash
I
for 2
picked
weeks
right.
now.
Oh, yeah, I caught her doing that.
She come out of the driveway with 42 bags and went straight to the dumpster and got another 30 bags. I'm just gonna say, she won the championship again, and I'm proud of her for showing up and showing out.
I was gonna let you know, I helped you out.
I
I
appreciate you.
started a mating bib, I just know you were gonna show up any minute.
I had a
I
group
went
of
from
kids
making
cycling
bib
in
to
Atlanta.
Morgan Minute Market and got 22 bags and 5 tires.
I saw that text message. I appreciate you. I was taking kids on a ride in Atlanta, and I appreciate you.
But I stopped at Morgan's Minute Market, so if you want to start there and go to Joy Cliff, it's got plenty left for you.
Thank you.
Just saying.
Appreciate you.
That can be done any day of the week.
Oh, yeah.
As a fraternity brother, I think I picked up about 100 tons of trash during my 30 years as Phi Beta Sigma
Especially
Fraternity
those
Incorporated.
first couple of years, right? They
And
made you.
we're responsible for the street in front of Northeast High School too, so
Oh,
we do
yeah.
that. Thank y'all, all the kids.
Praise for all the people here. We want to thank you. If we could fill this room up every meeting, I'd love to see that, because the community support and coming here and sharing, we can't do it all. We need y'all to maybe keep us in line from time to time, but bring us ideas too that we might not know about. But at this time, I need a motion to go to executive session for real estate personnel and litigation.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.